Welcome to the Emirates Sail Grand Prix, Portsmouth. We're racing on no ordinary stretch of water.
Emirates GBR on the inside, look at the speeds.
The Solent's always been a battleground.
Oh, it's tight, really tight, too tight. It's too close, getting crashed. Oh, we got a collision.
But now the fastest sailors on Earth take flight on the proving ground of British sailing.
And the Emirates winning moment goes to Emirates GBR.
Nations will collide.
Oh my Lord!
The rivalries will face off to prove who's the best of the best.
You've got to be kidding me.
It's no longer just history. This is a new era. This is SailGP.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, raw passion, all action. When it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything, give it all, everything. We are racing. When it takes, we are SailGP.
After competing on the bustling waterways surrounding New York City, Season 5 of SailGP roars into the English Channel as the league turns the page and prepares for the second half of competition, and with it, an extended stay on European waters for the next 3 months. As a focal point of British maritime history, this critical port city has played a major role in many of the UK's most important naval campaigns. Today, the world's best sailors have converged on Portsmouth as the chase for a championship continues. For only the third time, SailGP has come to British waters with prior visits to nearby Cowes in Season 1 and Plymouth back in Season 3. In the shadows of Spinnaker Tower, the conditions will test the teams as they sort out this constantly changing race course. Welcome to the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth. Alongside former Team GBR athlete Hannah Diamond and Olympian Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris. 6 events complete and 6 more to go until we reach the grand final. Up next is a first-time visit to Sassnitz, Germany, a return to Saint-Tropez, France, and then an inaugural showing on Lake Geneva in Switzerland before the league arrives in Spain. Season 5 concludes in the Middle East in Abu Dhabi at the end of November.
The Rolex SailGP Championship is now at the halfway stage. Australia were on top despite their wing setback coming into New York. However, after boat handling issues in the Big Apple, they were toppled by the mighty Spain.
We just had literally a couple of manoeuvres that we messed up and that put us out of that running.
They became the first team to take 2 event victories after they clawed their way into the final.
Coast to coast, the Spanish are winners in San Francisco 77 days ago and now in New York City.
It's tight at the top of the overall standings, just 2 points separating Spain, Bond's Flying Roos and the New Zealand Black Foils.
One thing the SailGP format's definitely told you is that if you don't keep learning and improving and getting better, you're going to get left behind.
Mubadala Brazil scooped their first race victory and narrowly missed out on a place in the New York final.
Martini Grail and Mubadala Brazil win race number 4.
This is going to be a battle from the back to get to the final. Brazil are pinned out. Oh no, it's a bit of a shocker for Mubadala Brazil. I don't know how the Spanish have just sailed straight through the wind shadow of the Americans there.
There's been a bit of a shake-up at the front of the pack. With Emirates GBR and North Star Canada posting mid-table results, France closed the gap. Quentin Delapierre's French team made their 2nd consecutive final and will be laser-focused in Portsmouth to maintain their performance.
We sailed pretty well, honestly, ready for the European campaign.
Here in Portsmouth, Emirates GBR know what they will need to do in front of an expected record crowd.
Hopefully we've had our bad events, we put them under the rug, and from here it will be all the way to the top.
They currently sit in 4th and will be looking to regain their place on the overall podium.
And those back-to-back wins in the U.S. have put the Spanish on top, but just 2 points separate the top three. The Bonds Flying Roos and the Black Foils breathing down the necks of the defending champions. It's Emirates, GBR, North Star Canada, and France who make up the rest of the top half. At the other end, Switzerland and Rockwell, Denmark will be looking for some much-needed points to keep their hopes alive of making November's grand final. United States and Germany Deutsche Bank still looking to get off the mark.
Well, first day of racing here at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth, and we're going to have 4 qualifying races today out there on the water. There'll be 3 more qualifying races tomorrow. 10 points for the race winner, only 1 point if you're 10th and none if you're 11th or 12th. We're going to accumulate all the points, and the top 3 boats go to the event final tomorrow, where we find the winner.
Today's racecourse is set off the historic naval city of Portsmouth. Teams will fight for position at the start and then race across to Mark 1, where they'll turn left towards the grandstand. From here, they can choose to turn either left or right at Gate 2. The fleet will then try to pick the best course against the wind as they move away from the shoreline up to Gate 3. Spitbank Fort stands proud in the middle of the course, and teams will have to navigate around the fort to avoid the wind shadow it produces. After 2 laps, teams will head back towards the packed grandstands, where they'll complete their final left turn towards the finish line.
The latest news.
Todd, well, it's looking great here on the Solist. We're at the turn of the tide, so the tide shouldn't impact the F50s too much, and the water is pretty flat, so ideal conditions. Configuration-wise, we've got 24-metre wing, high-speed T-foils, light air rudders, and just 5 people on board. But I actually do have some breaking news for you, and that is that unfortunately France have broken their wing about halfway down the wing sail in the pre-training. So all sailors are safe and accounted for, but unfortunately they're under salvage now and will be not racing today. So very tough for that team, and it'll all be fully investigated when they get to shore. But yeah, very, very tough to see them have to sit on the sidelines.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. Much more from you down on the water throughout the day, and 4 races, as Stevie pointed out. So 12, Stevie becomes 11 now, and just heartbreak for the French team that already missed races at the start of the season because of a broken wing.
Oh, it's been a tough sort of season for them so far, hasn't it? And these scenes, I mean, obviously the good news is everyone's okay.
Right.
The whys it happened, I mean, I've got no idea just yet. We'll obviously find out a little bit more as time goes on. But yeah, devastating. And looking forward to watching the racing though, because the breeze looked great.
Yeah, the breeze is picked up just in time for this first race of the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix, and the boats are lining up, getting ready for this first start.
So 1:20 to go before the start of race number 1 as the 11 teams now get themselves into position. France unable to go today, so the pressure really on the rest of the fleet.
Yeah, the first thing we can see here, Todd, is a really short downwind leg in front of the crowd there. This start will be absolutely crucial. You need to lead at Mark 1 or it's going to be carnage.
So the teams are getting themselves into position, and they will begin the dance before the start of race number 1. Race number 1 set to go here at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. And this will be critical, Stevie. You could have absolute carnage because of the way this course is set up.
Just such a short sprint to Mark 1 and then an even shorter sprint to Gate 2. We see the boats coming back, and I like Canada's move here. The late tack in, you can see the favoured triangle lines on there. The blue pathway shows us the optimum place to start. Our Rolex pole predictor sits on board Spain at the moment, but I think Canada have got the control in position. New Zealand, it's aggressive from Burling up at the top of the line. He's going to need to be so fast to get over the fleet from here. Spain and Canada are in the pole position, but who's going to get their timing right? Line to the right-hand side of our screen will turn white when we're good to go. United States winded up. Switzerland winded up. New Zealand at the top of the line are so fast. Ooh. Brilliant from Dylan Fletcher and Emirates Great Britain. He's going to lead at Mark 1 from here in New Zealand. Well, they're going to be on the outside of the bend, and it's going to be hard for Burling and co. They're going to need to be very, very fast. Early manoeuvre coming for Emirates Great Britain.
At mark number 1, it's the home team, Emirates GBR, that have the lead.
Oh, look how fast the Kiwis have gone there as well. Rockwell, Denmark, though, aggressive. Sehested holds them wide. Spain dive on the inside, and it's now a sprint to Gate 2. The fans are going to get a great view, but look how congested the fleet is here. Great Britain are going to take a left turn. Keep it simple. We heard Fletcher say that. Anticipate here, Burling doing an extra manoeuvre and turning right to try and clear the traffic.
And keep an eye on those channel markers as they get to Gate number 2. Look at this as they come around there. Hannah Diamond, you know these waters maybe better than anyone else. results. This is a tricky race course with all the race furniture out there.
Yeah, really tricky race course, and of course no practice racing yesterday, so this will be the first look at the course for a lot of these teams.
It's really tight in at the bottom there, isn't it? And I think we can see Emirates Great Britain have kept it simple. I think when you're out in the lead, that's the sort of standard thing to do, really. Try and find that little bit of space, minimise manoeuvres. But Lisa, we've seen Great Britain turn left, New Zealand turn right. Do you fancy either side of the course?
I actually really like where the New Zealand team is going. In general, where the British were is the lightest part of the race course. So I would say favourites in New Zealand right now. But, you know, the Brits are the locals. Surely they know what they're doing.
More pressure coming in 10.
I think interesting at the moment, we're coming on board here. Nick Hutton, he's the only one on the handles. Big pressure weekend for Hannah and Dylan at the back of the boat there. We can hear Hannah and Dylan, good communication going on, but they need to get things happening because they've had a disappointing middle of the season.
Another unique part of this course right here, you're going to see Spitbank Fort coming into view just on the right-hand side, and that's another big obstacle they're going to have to avoid throughout this race.
We love a roundabout in Great Britain though, don't we, Hannah?
Yeah, that's right, but you've got to watch out for that wind shadow it produces. Looks like Emirates Great Britain have just managed to get to the windward side of Spitbank Fort, so no issue for them there.
New Zealand look like just about managed to sort of cement that third position. They were in a big pressure position round Mark 1, but they've done well in Spain. We've seen how fast Spain have been getting through the season. But look at this leaderboard on the left there.
Yep.
The Bond Flying Rouge, Australia, they're up to 8th, but they were in last at gate 2. Not the start Slingsby would have wanted.
Obviously left, small bias, but I think we're good, eh? I think we're good.
So leg 3 of 7 as they made their way to gate number 3. It is Emirates GBR that have the lead. Rockwell Denmark sits in second. The Black Foals of New Zealand third. Then the winners of the last 2 events and the defending champions from season 4, Spain, sit in 4th.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big lead for Great Britain now. I think Emirates Great Britain from here, they're just minimising those manoeuvres, Hannah, and just trying to maximise speed around the course, really.
Yeah, that's right, and trying to, just like you say, try and keep it really simple, and that's obviously paid dividends for them so far. The fleet's going to get a bit compacted as we come into top gate 3 here, with the Kiwis coming in on starboard.
Switzerland need to keep clear. And now right of way New Zealand, Switzerland, oh, that was an aggressive turn in front there, but the Kiwis have just kept it round the outside. Spain are entitled to room inside Switzerland here, but they probably choose to go straight and keep themselves in some space.
So we've seen a bit of a difference in kind of strategy here. Emirates Great Britain have got Hannah Mills at the back of the boat in that strategy role. A lot of the others with 5 people on board have chosen to have their strategists move forward to that grinding position. Strategy's key, we know that, and it's paying off for them so far.
Massive lead here on race number 1. We're scheduled for 4 today. This is just leg 4 of 7. It's the home team, Emirates GBR, out in front. Now remember, they currently sit in 4th place overall on 41 points, but they're only 5 points out of 1st place, which is currently being held by the Spanish.
Top 6 boats overall, there's nothing between them really, is there? Spain have looked like the form boat in recent times, and they're right in the mix here, Spain. Again, remember, it's all about consistency at this point of view. As we see our SailGP insights, we dive up into the Oracle Cloud. What's the wind speed looking like? Well, it's pretty similar across the course, really. Great Britain and Denmark, somewhat unsurprisingly, they're in a similar patch of water. They've got similar wind speed.
Wing up here, Nick, before we turn. Okay, nice, mate. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
It doesn't get much more smooth than that, Hannah. A lot of calm conversations on board with a big lead. It was 9 seconds at the last gate, and now as they approach the DP World Gate at the bottom of the course, Denmark will come through, and they will trip it. It's now they've lost 3 more seconds, so they're 12 seconds behind the leaders.
And this is a dream situation when you're leading. You've got all the boats behind you following with that left turn. Makes it really nice and easy to cover the boats behind you.
And I think if you're in the first 3, you're fine, you're happy, that's a good result. Great start to the regatta. I think when you're 7th, 8th, United States, Australia, here we see Switzerland, they may be going to split the course and try and find space on the other side. It's when you're in the pack that you're maybe slightly compromised by the other boats ahead of you, and you have to look to try and force something. What's Slingsby going to do? Is he going to follow, or will he try and work some magic?
Our star Canada and Giles Scott has made some improvements. They are now up to 5th place, and just as Stevie predicted, it's Tom Slingsby not liking what he saw on that left-hand side, did not want to follow the Americans or the Canadians, so he has opted to split the course and go to the right.
Yeah, if he followed the United States there, it'd be in disturbed wind, effectively less horsepower going into the rig. You're just definitely going to go slower, so he's opted to sail a bit more distance, find a bit more space, and see if they can use what we know to be one of the fastest boats on the race course, or fastest teams, we should say. All the boats are identical, of course.
Meanwhile, it's Emirates GBR out in front. Their lead over 100 meters over Rockwell, Denmark, who sit in second place. The Kiwis sit in third, Spain in fourth. Switzerland has now moved up to fifth, overtaken US SailGP, who have dropped down to sixth.
Heading. I will. Goes. Proceed. Keep halfway down there.
Well, here was the start one more time. Keep your eye on Spain on the right side of your screen.
Yeah, right on the inside, and that's what they've done quite well this season. Is often your position at Mark 1 can be, you know, third, fourth or fifth, but it's whether you can then decide your own tactics, and to do that you want to be on the inside. Wow, look how close that was, Italy. Ruggiero Tita had to make a really dramatic move. As we can see, it's getting a bit loose on board the Spanish boat. That's an unforced error. They got a bit too high on the foil. Joel Rodriguez there just flying the boat a little high. Oh, it got very, very loose on that downwind, and that was a lot of distance. That could be the difference between them being ahead of New Zealand and not at this stage of the race.
So that was back at the start of race number 1. Remember, we've got 4 races for you today, 4 fleet races. And as everyone tries to build their account as many points as they can, and then after 3 more races tomorrow, it is the event final where only the top 3 teams will compete.
But an overtake there, Todd. New Zealand found a bit more wind away from the shore there on the side of the course that Lisa liked on this upwind leg. And we're just downwind now from here, so that could be a fairly crucial moment. We see Rockwell Denmark, well, they're fast, but they're going to pin themselves outside here. Very much the controlling position here with New Zealand, but Rockwell Denmark's on fire. Look how fast.
Leg 6 of 7 in race number 1. There you see more of the obstacles, the channel markers out on this course. Good time to check in one more time with Lisa Darmanin down on the water. Lisa, you talked about the favorite spot of the course early in this race. Has it changed at all, and what's the forecast for the rest of the day?
So it's quite gusty out here, Todd, and shifty. So I think the British are doing a really good job of going to better breeze and getting the good angle. But talking to the sailors before the race, they're saying there's so many obstacles out here. So if the wind's not hard enough, the boats aren't hard enough, they've got to choose where to go on either side of these islands and pylons. So it's a real minefield out here, but it's a masterclass by the British.
And Hannah, you talk about it, you made the point, there was no practice racing yesterday because there was not enough wind. So for some of these sailors, this is literally their first chance to race.
Yeah, that's right, a bit of a baptism of fire. And you can see the Brits just come around that last mark there as they're on the way to the finish. Real
this is going to be a pretty special moment here, isn't it, in front of the home fans.
And what a way to start off your home regatta. Race number 1 at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth goes the way of the home team. Emirates GBR take the win.
What a start to that race by Emirates Great Britain. Absolutely brilliant. It's going to be really tight between New Zealand and Rockwell Denmark. I think New Zealand managed to just dive inside. Burling judged his ley line into that bottom mark perfectly because Rockwell Denmark had gone round the outside. They'd gone further faster, but controlling position with the black foils, and they're going to bring it home in second place here.
Pete Burling and company showing their class. They take second. Rockwell Denmark, they needed those points in a big-time way. They currently sit 8th overall. Remember, they've had penalties early in the season, so they need to get points in a big hurry. And then it's Spain, the winner of the last 2 events, and the current leaders overall sitting on 46 points. They will pick up a 4th. Room for improvement there, Stevie, but they still look very good. And the Swiss coming in top 5.
Yeah, and remember, it's all about getting to that top 3 tomorrow. So it's about consistency at this point. So I'd say all these teams, probably even Canada, are going to be happy enough with that. They've not had a shocker. They've had an all right start. Of course, Emirates Great Britain are going to be over the moon, aren't they? Giles Scott, another, you know, Canadian, but of course he's done a lot of sailing in Portsmouth himself here because the Canadian boat brings it across the finish line. So another team that'll have a lot of local support, I'm sure.
And the Bonds Flying Roos, they will finish in 7th. Tom Slingsby hoping that'll be their worst result of the 7 fleet races. Italy and Red Bull Italy and Ruggiero Tita, they'll check in at 8th place, so they had some improvements. And now you've got a battle between the Brazilians and the Americans coming down for that next position. This is a valuable point, and look at Taylor Canfield. He's pushing them.
He did a good push there, Todd, didn't he? Great push by the US team there. Brazil had to keep clear, and you don't mess with a world match race champion in that sort of situation.
So Taylor Canfield comes through. They will pick up that extra point over Martina Grail and Mubadala Brazil. And the Germans, now remember, there's just 11 teams out of the water because of France's incident early on, and they will pick up no points. So, take a deep breath, folks. Beautiful weather here down in south part of UK, but what a day of racing, and what a way to start things off, especially if you are the home team, Emirates GBR and Dylan Fletcher, as they pick up the win on the very first event. So we now go down on the water, Olympic gold medalist Dylan Fletcher, and of course he's got Hannah Mills with him. Dylan, welcome to the show, and what a way to start things off. What was the plan for that first race in the start box?
I guess we were just looking to get off the midline with pace, so yeah, really good job by the rest of the team, and nice to take a win in front of the home crowd in the first race.
And Dylan, come on, the crowd looks huge there, and you're just meters off the shore. How much can you actually hear them on those boats?
Yeah, we could hear them when we were crossing the finish line. It's absolutely incredible here. It's just a typical British summer's day, right? Sun's out, good breeze.
And Dylan, the big talk on this course has been all the extra obstacles that are out there. You've got to deal with the current. Obviously, the wind is the biggest factor, but then you've got all those pylons, and you've got the island out there. How do you deal with all that and having one less person on there? That's one less set of eyes.
Definitely a bit going on. Nico did a fantastic job there on his own at the front, and Hannah did a great job of just keeping us clear and fast around the race course.
Dylan, appreciate your time. Thanks so much, and we will see you in race number 2. Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR get the job done, and they take the win. Wow, a lot to unpack there on the first race here at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix.
Yeah, and of course the start was crucial. You see Great Britain, middle of the line there highlighted, and they just managed to get aiming at Mark 1 early, and they were absolute perfect timing. And from here, they just got to Mark 1 and they just got well clear.
Yeah, that's right. And we highlighted kind of early on that it was going to be really important, that first manoeuvre down to gate 2. Emirates Great Britain did a nice job through there, but we'll see shortly. The Spanish really struggled through that jibe. You can see them just in the background here, taking a bit of a nosedive and losing a huge amount of distance to the fleet.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a feature of the day, actually. If you end up wide at Mark 1, how do you salvage that? New Zealand managed to just get on the line in for the right turn at the bottom, but very easy to get wide, very easy, even if you're the best. The Bond's Flying Rouge, they were right at the back of the pack early on, so it's going to be a real street fight.
It's quite short, that distance from a left turn to the boundary, and it's really important because we've got the Spitbank Fort just here, so you can see how the boats that go all the way to boundary can just about make it past. Anyone in dirty air is going to really struggle.
Yeah, tight racing, but some crowd out there on the water, Todd, so it's going to be pretty spectacular. Wind looks like it's pretty good.
So the Emirates winning moment goes the way of Emirates GBR, and how about this? Emirates fly time, 100%, doesn't get much better than that. Absolutely nailed that, and their maneuvers were so on point. And let's not forget, normally 6 crew on board, now they're operating with just 5. Fans continue to make their way into the race stadium here on a picture-perfect day in July in the UK. Race number 2 is coming up next as the Rolex SailGP Championships roll on.
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Midway through the 2024 season, Giles Scott took the helm of Emirates GBR, stepping in for the retiring Ben Ainsley. The team showed strong form with Giles, but at the start of the 2025 season came a shock announcement. Dylan Fletcher would replace Giles as driver.
Yeah, copy.
Giles was then traded to North Star Canada and is thriving with his new team, scoring consistent results, including a stunning event win in Los Angeles. Now, for the first time in 3 years, SailGP returns to British waters. And it's a home race for both drivers.
Dylan, is there such a thing as home advantage?
I personally haven't done much racing on exactly these waters, but I think that there's certainly a home advantage in terms of the crowd. There's a lot of pressure, I guess, we'll feel on our shoulders this weekend.
People talk about pressure in sport, and it's definitely an added pressure when you see, in this case, tens of thousands of people there and all expecting the home team to win. It's frankly a little bit intimidating.
With Giles Scott now driving for North Star Canada and Fletcher at the wheel of Emirates GBR, old rivalries are set to resurface.
All that really matters is making the top 3 by that final event.
SailGP season's long, and we said at the start of the season it's going to be up and down.
We're obviously chasing podiums.
From here it'll be all the way to the top.
We're just going to be fighting for every little inch out there.
With 20,000 fans expected over the weekend, this is shaping up to be one of the biggest events of the season. And at the heart of it all, is this Giles' shot at revenge against his former team?
Giles, this is a home race for you, really. How much would it mean to get a victory on the Solent?
Yeah, it's. I used to live here in Portsmouth, and it'd be nice to ruin the British party a little bit, to be honest.
Back in beautiful Portsmouth for day number 1 of the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix. Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darmanin, and Todd Harris with you as we get ready for race number 2 coming up in less than 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Well, as Lisa Darmanin reported earlier today, there was an incident out during training before the start of racing, and as you see in that spot shadow right there, that is France's wing sail collapsing on the top part. Stevie and Hannah, I guess the first question I throw to you is, I'll start with you, Hannah. How does that happen, and any speculation on how long they might be out?
Yeah, I think at the moment we really don't know. So it's kind of important not to speculate. The main thing is obviously that everyone's okay, but really devastating for this event and for the season for France.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that onboard view from New Zealand, and that's effectively all we know, really, other than these shots we're having here where the rig's down. And yeah, as I say, all we can say at this stage is we're just really glad no one's hurt, but I feel so sorry for that French crew. They're going to be absolutely devastated because they're sort of just starting to get the wheels on the season. And of course, you know, as much as they're getting the wheels on the season, they've got work to do. So this could be pivotal for their, you know, for them actually hoping to get to the grand final. Let's hope it doesn't become the season-defining moment for them.
Right. France currently sits in 6th overall after being a finalist in New York City. And talk about big-time crowds. As we come up on 90 seconds to go, the fans have packed out Portsmouth. Look at this, Stevie. We got a sold-out crowd here to see the world's best sailors, and we've still got 3 more races to go.
Yeah, and that was the young lady that was in the middle of the shot there, Lily. That was Chris Draper, the wing trimmer on board the Bonds Flying Rouge, daughter there, giving it the biggest fan in the crowd, it looked like there. So it's great to see so many people getting down, getting to see the F-50s there, getting to see how cool sailing can be.
And Emirates GBR lead them into the start box. The winners of race number 1, remember that's 10 valuable points. Over the course of 7 races, you want to have the most points or at least be in the top 3 to make the event final. All right, so here we go. 1 minute to go before the start. They get into that start box, and they'll wait for that red line to turn white, and then the racing is on. Hannah Diamond, you've raced in these waters. How much can you learn after 1 race?
I think a huge amount, but it's about whether you can execute it in the next race. We can see the shape of the start box here. There's a lot of distance behind the line, so getting your timing back is really, really important.
Well, and timing back, talking about that, look at Spain. They are late for me. I think Spain are going to really struggle from here. We could see the downwind end of the line in the middle of our screen with the blue triangles flashing towards it. That's the pole position. But we saw New Zealand with a very different strategy, much like the Bonds Flying Rouge towards the top end of the fleet here, that they found space and they just hit the line fast. So it's all about hitting that line quick. New Zealand are going to get a gap in behind Rottwell, Denmark. He could pull a bit of a Harry Houdini here on board the black foils. Rolex pole predictor sits on Brazil, but I don't see where they're going to get through. Germany looks early. All about timing now before that line turns white. Canada could sneak out of the bottom of the line, and the Bonds Flying Rouge are going to be fast.
This is the umpires. Early start penalty, Germany.
Oh, Germany have got to go right to the back of the pack, and they look like they were really early. Oh, here we go. Italy are going to lead here at Mark 1. Ruggero Tita, this could be huge for the Italians as they get to Mark 1, and they're going to have control of the race course.
At mark number 1 in race number 2, it's Red Bull Italy, and Ruggero Tita, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, that has the lead.
2, 1.
First manoeuvre. We see the Bonds Flying Rouge there getting it held off the course by Burling. Burling very aggressive with the Australians there, forced them wide in the background, and Tita was late with his manoeuvre. Schneider drove it like he stole it at Mark 1, and he's managed to dive inside the Italian, sailed about 75 metres less distance. Brilliant from the Swiss team.
Sebastian Schneider at gate number 2. The DP World Gate will dive in, and they will take over the lead. So the Swiss out in front. The Italians sit in second, but look at this. The Union Jack and Emirates GBR currently sitting in 3rd place.
Yeah, Burling hunted the Australians, and he's cost himself a position in doing that. He opened the door for Fletcher to get through. First boat to turn right is the Bonds Flying Rouge. They're forced wide, really, as we see Emirates Great Britain are going to put the clamps on the black foils from here, and these 2 titans are going to fight it out towards the boundary.
Great start once again for Taylor Canfield and US SailGP. They're in a top 5 position.
Yeah, and we heard some rumours, didn't we, Hannah? Mike Buckley's not on that boat, is he? There's been a bit of a change in the strategist role. The CEO, Mike Buckley's decided to bring in Andrew Campbell as a strategist on board.
Yeah, that's right. We've talked a lot about what changes that team's going to have to make, so that's obviously an option that they're going to be trying. With 5 people on board at the moment, they've got their normal grinder, Anna Weiss still grinding on there. So not so much of a big change for this race, but we'll see how this plays out for the rest of the weekend.
Taylor Canfield still at the wheel for US SailGP. They sit in 5th place right now after finishing in 9th place in race number 1. So they need some valuable points for the next 3 races here on day number 1. But the race is on. The Italians and the Swiss going at it.
Yeah, this is an absolute test of boat speed across here. This is really a wing trimmer versus wing trimmer. And of course the Italians have got one of the best in the business, 3-time champion when he was with Australia, Carl Langford. Slightly able to control the situation here. You can choose the angle you sail because Switzerland must keep clear. But when they come to manoeuvre, it'll be the Swiss with the right of way. So I still see Switzerland leading up at gate 3, but it's a real test of boat speed.
The Swiss have done a really good job to hold that lane there. It wouldn't have been easy across on that starboard leg.
And there you see Spitbank Fork that resides right in the middle there of the English Channel, so you have to avoid that. Plus, the channel markers there. This is such a busy part of the UK with ferries coming in and out.
And quickly before we get to gate 3, Lisa, it looked like the Bonds Flying Rouge almost lost a bit of distance there. Has it changed out on the racecourse at all?
Yeah, I'm trying to work out what's going on, but what I think is that there is a lot of current obviously moving around here. It looks like there's a bit of a boost. So where Italy and Switzerland went, looks like you get a really nice boost up that side. So I think there's something going on with the current. I'll try work out for you guys.
Get Lisa to work that one out for us, Todd, as we get to gate 3, and the Swiss have held on, but it's Emirates Great Britain. They are fast out there today.
Focus on us, bearing away in 3, 2, 1.
And they will turn away. So the Swiss and the Italians will opt for that right-hand side, and Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR go left. And Hannah, like we saw in race number 1, after those first 2 legs, it's going to get a little congested down here.
Yeah, that's right. And actually for the Italian team, they've got a new strategist on board this weekend. So really a first proper day sailing in an F50 for Julia Gross.
Yeah, tight moment here. Wow. So tight. New Zealand dive inside. They have the right of way. Bonds Flying Rouge, well, they are entitled to go through that gap there. It's all clean and all fair, but you wouldn't expect anything less with a couple of the top drivers in SailGP. And it's now Rockwool Denmark that need to keep clear of New Zealand. It's so congested when you get back in the pack. Hard to keep yourself at optimum speed when there's other boats in your way. And Spain, well, they got some work to do.
Yeah, Spain, after a terrible start, they've moved themselves up to 8. I want to remind you that's only 11 boats. Normally we have 12 out there, but there was that incident with France before the start of racing, and they are done for the day.
Looked to me like the right turn worked out quite well for Ruggero Tita on board that Italian boat. He crosses ahead. We saw the green circle on the Italian boat and the red circle on Great Britain. That was because Italy had the right of way, but now the roles have reversed here, and the British are going to take the wind away from the Italians. They've again sailed less distance. There's no doubt the British are minimising the distance around this racecourse today. Hannah Mills, Dylan Fletcher seem to be working pretty seamlessly together today, as the Swiss need to be confident they're ahead, or they're going to have to give the British room. Oh, it's tight there, Dylan.
Look at this.
That was so tight. Dylan was punchy round there. Wouldn't expect anything less, but that was maybe a little closer than he needed to be, giving the fans a bit of a show as the Swiss are going to manoeuvre away right in front of Emirates Great Britain.
And Hannah, Dylan came in so fast, I don't think he wanted to give up any of that speed, but man, that was a small margin of error.
Yeah, that's right. I think they were hoping to get an overlap, but just didn't quite make it. And now they're going to have a tough life in this lane here with the Swiss on top and the Italians working really hard to squeeze them out from underneath.
So it's an Emirates GBR sandwich right now with the Swiss off to their right, the Italians to their left.
Yeah, and I think all 3 boats will be able to sail their own mode here. No one boat is particularly controlling, but the Italians are in danger of getting into the disturbed wind of Emirates Great Britain quite soon. The British are sailing a fast angle. They're choosing to sail a little bit more distant, but they're going to keep tactical control over that second place.
But they lost a lot doing that. 2, 1, angle.
Tight, isn't it? Yeah,
all the way.
Oh, it got loose though. They flew too high. That round up there, it's so easy to put too much lift on the main foil. Raz Costa normally so good at judging those round ups, but he had a little bit too much lift on there, overloaded the rudders, and the whole thing span out.
So Rockwool Denmark, after doing some great work, getting themselves up to 8, they dropped back to 10th, and this is the team that finished top 3 in race number 1. So the racing continues on. The Italians, Red Bull Italy, dropping off the pace just a little bit, and now it's a 2-boat race out in front. 1 and 2 owns Switzerland and Emirates GBR.
And 30.
Then we get the Oracle Cloud down here and we can just see the wind speed. It's quite even across the course. It shows the British in less wind, but that's probably because they're getting slightly affected by the wind that the Swiss have put onto them. The wind have disturbed the air and taken a little bit of breeze off it.
Understood. Stand by, flag bear away.
Bonds Flying Roos last second there as they had a collision course date with Spitbank Ford, and so rather than do that, Tom Slingsby turns away, and now they're off the left-hand side.
We'll go for the split at the top.
Okay.
Well, he was going to, but he couldn't make it, could he, Hannah?
No, that's right, and I think the Swiss have been really smart there. Make the team behind you do an extra manoeuvre. They'll just sail away from this mark, and it's going to be hard work for Emirates GBR to catch up from here.
I think that's a sensible decision by Dylan there, because it's very easy to get too lost in the battle to just win the race and satisfy the fans and everything, whereas a second place, when you add that to a first in the first race, in that whole battle for the final, that's just more than good enough. I mean, let's remember that Denmark had a brilliant first race, but they're sat back in 10th here. Consistency is king, and if you're not consistent, you're going to struggle to be in Sunday afternoon's final.
Right now, the consistency belongs to Emirates GBR. They won race number 1. They're currently sitting in second place in race number 2, so they are looking very good with 2 more races to go today. You got to wonder what's going on with Rockwell Denmark. After a stellar showing in race number 1, they've dropped back to 10th. The Canadians, they are in 8th place right now, and they finished 6th earlier on. So to Stevie's point, Hannah, you got to keep yourself really, we always say that you can have one bad race over the 7. You can't have 2.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, ideally you don't pick that up early in the series. So anything you can do to just claw those points back in the racing is really, really important.
How much of this do you think, Hannah, the debrief after tonight in 4 races, will they say, okay, it's a learning curve? Some of us have never raced here before, so tomorrow we'll go out there and smash it on the 3 fleet races that are scheduled.
Oh, it's huge. And we heard Pete Burling mention it in the press conference. You've got to keep learning in this league. There's no one standing still. The level's raising all of the time. So it's not just about keeping up, it's about making those big steps forwards.
It's learning, Todd, but I do think these venues aren't that different. You know, the Swiss have come out and they've shown they've learned quick enough.
So here we go, race number 2, and we haven't said this since Chicago. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Swiss. Sebastian Schneider in Switzerland get the win in race 2 here in Portsmouth.
Oh, that's some Emirates winning moment for the Swiss team there, and as you say, it's been a long time between drinks for the Swiss team on those race wins, so they're going to be happy with that. But Dylan and crew, wow, they're going to be happy. They did such a good job after race 1.
And their CEO, Jimmy Spithill's going to be very happy with what Red Bull Italy did. They had a great start, and they hold on for a 3rd place finish. That's huge points for the Italians, and now the race is on. This is going to be really interesting to see who comes in where. You've got the Kiwis just ahead of the Bonds Flying Roos for 4 and 5, and Spain has worked themselves up to 6. The Americans look like they're going to finish in 7th, so an improvement for them from race number 1.
Yeah, nice job there. It's interesting hearing Dylan there saying how that tight incident with the Swiss, he thought he had right to go in there. I heard from the chief umpire, Craig Mitchell, he definitely didn't, but it just shows these things have a real fine margin.
Hey, turning here, inside the Kiwis. And turning up slow. Nice, guys.
Taylor Canfield and US SailGP, they get a 7th, so they are improving. That's always a good sign, so they'll want to get 2 more good races in, probably top 5s for them if they want to build a nice account towards Sunday, Super Sunday, where the pressure is really applied. And here comes Giles Scott, North Star Canada. They'll finish in 8th with the Germans, who have really had a terrible start. Stevie crossed early and had to go behind everyone else. They salvage a 9th place, and then it'll be Rockwell Denmark. They've got to be the most disappointed. They go from a first race 3rd to a second race 10th.
Story of their season, isn't it? I mean, you know, there's no doubt. You look at a lot of the data, and that Danish team sail the boat as well, and in a lot of instances better than anyone. But that's not showing up in the results. You know, and that's something they've really got to address at this point in the year, because it is consistency, as we say. And, you know, disappointing one here for Mubadala Brazil, but I think they'll still be pretty pepped up. They had the first race win, of course, in New York last time out. But yeah, tough start for Mubadala Brazil. But yes, as you say, I think for Rockwell Denmark, it is that consistency. How do we find consistency?
So a beautiful shot of the English Channel here on day number 1 of the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix. Portsmouth, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. 2 races down, 2 more races to go as we now go on board with Team Switzerland and their driver, Sebastian Schneider. Seb, great job. I got to ask you, was it the inspiration of visiting with Roger Federer in the latest edition of Racing on the Edge that got you guys that win? Because you guys looked fast.
Maybe, yeah. No, I think it's the inspiration of the whole team, everybody working hard and yeah, fighting for it. So 2 more races to go. We're staying super focused on those one and try to do the best possible.
And Seb, you did a very, very aggressive manoeuvre at Mark 1. You really spun the boat hard. Is that kind of the key moment in the race, how you get out of Mark 1?
Yeah, I think so. It's a strange setup with that first drive coming right at the mark. So obviously, as always, the start is key, but in this case even more. And I think we did a nice job to drive inside Italy there and get a bit of G-forces in that drive was cool. And no, it was a nice race, nice battle against the Brits as well.
And it looks like really awesome sailing conditions out there. Give us a bit of a feel of what it's like on the water. Are you looking at the wind and the tide? What's most important for you?
Yeah, we're looking a lot at the wind. Maud is helping me a lot to look at the pressure and yeah, trying to keep it simple and fast, and everything's fine if you do that.
Hey, Sebastian, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on a big win. We look forward to seeing you guys in race number 3. And that is Sebastian Schneider and Team Switzerland getting the win in race number 2. And their last win, I got to correct myself, Stevie, it was Auckland, not Chicago.
Okay, well, there you go. But the start again, well, they did a good job at the start, but more importantly, I think, was their positioning from here. They really were fast and they pointed the boat down at Mark 1, but it was after that they'd opened out, got the lead, and they had a big, big boat speed battle with the Italians up here.
Yeah, that's right. They gave themselves a difficult position on that second upwind, but the battle really happened kind of a little bit further back as well. The boats are so close together. We saw some close moments between Emirates GBR and the Italian team here.
Ooh. I think maybe that's the thing for the Italians. You know, they're still new. Just every manoeuvre they do, they may be losing a couple of meters. They're just getting a little bit slow, and those meters cost so much because you can see they're well ahead of the boats behind them at this stage, but then they just drop back slowly through the race. But third for the Italians, pretty good result.
So it's the Swiss and Emirates GBR and Red Bull Italy that place in the top 3 positions here on day number 1 at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth, the Rolex SailGP Championships. And how about this? The Swiss, 100% flight time. So 2 races down, 2 more to go. We take a look at the standings. Remember, you get the 10 points for the win, and that's got Emirates GBR on top with 19 points. Switzerland sit in second, even with the Black Foils of New Zealand. You got to think Spain, Red Bull Italy, and the Bonds Flying Roos, Stevie, are doing themselves a solid on day 1. Well, a great start for the hometown heroes, Emirates GBR, topping the table. The pressure is on this weekend to deliver a great result and continue the legacy of great British sailing on the waters of the Solent.
Well, this stretch of water here on the Solent is where, for a lot of us British sailors, we either started our career or we did a lot of racing and training as youngsters here. And so to bring SailGP finally to Portsmouth is a huge opportunity.
For the fans, it's going to be amazing. The start line's in a slightly different position. We got very close to the shore racing. It's going to be wild.
It's been 3 years since we had one in the UK. The team's gone through such a kind of growth phase, I guess, since, you know, Ben came in as a team owner.
I just wanted to say it's been a real honour sailing with you these last 2 or 3 seasons.
So my role now is as the CEO of the Emirates GBR team, so it's a privilege to be leading such a great group of people. It's an interesting phase for us as a team now, coming up to the halfway stage in the season 5. Yeah, we started off really, really strong.
Emirates GBR, they make the 3rd final in a row. They take the win in Sydney.
And then for whatever reason, last 3 events we've struggled. We know we can win races, we know we can win events, we've got a fantastic squad. Recently we got recognised through the Impact League Diversity and Inclusion Programme for our efforts there, and that's something that we've worked really hard on as a team over a number of years. Someone like Kai Hockley is a great example of that. He's come through our Athena Pathway programme. He's now working on the shore team with SailGP, but he's a really talented young sailor and potentially will have the opportunity to get through to be, you know, racing on one of these F50s.
I think as athletes, you know, whatever sport you're in, you feel a sense of responsibility as to the things you're talking about, the things you stand for. And I think, you know, for sailing and for myself, I think of what it's given me as a person and the opportunities. And I think whatever level you get to in sport, I think sport is so powerful for young people to be part of.
This weekend is going to be that added pressure of the home crowd and having 20,000 people in the grandstands, which we can hear, all with the Union Jacks out, is going to be a very special feeling.
I know that our team would just be absolutely loving the opportunity to perform in front of a home crowd, and they won't take that as a pressure, they'll take that as support and motivation to go out and do the best job they possibly can, and let's bring on and hope for some great racing.
Another former driver turned CEO is Jimmy Spithill, who's keeping an eye on his new Italian team from Race HQ. SailGP's new documentary series, Uncharted, follows his extraordinary journey and career as he finds himself as the CEO of a brand new team.
We wanted to create the best sports league in the world. To do that, we needed one of the best sailors in the world.
Jimmy Spithill!
He is a legend.
He's one of the GOATs, but this league is about country versus country, and Jimmy's not an American.
Jimmy's last race, and he's racing with the guy that's going to take his driver's seat.
I definitely wanted to go out and show him, well, have you really made the right decision here?
The USA SailGP team, they come to Spain and they claim the victory.
And then we got to Bermuda. That was something we weren't prepared for.
Oh, look at the Oh, they flipped them. Oh, my Lord.
Removing Jimmy was mind-bogglingly stupid.
I think he saw the chance to take his career on the next journey.
We both know that SailGP needs an Italian team. I'm not at all afraid of having to start from the bottom and fight my way up to the top.
And a programming reminder, be on the lookout for Uncharted, which is streaming now on Paramount Plus and our global broadcast partners, as well as the SailGP YouTube channel. We've got Race 3 coming up here at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship.
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
We're in the CNC milling room here at SailGP Technologies, and I'm going to find out how we turn this lump of titanium into this complicated bespoke fitting that goes in the F50 foil system.
Inside this room, raw billets of titanium and plastic are transformed into exact components for the F50.
Machining is taking a bit of raw material and then using CNC machines to then make that into a component which is useful for the boat.
CNC machining is necessary in manufacturing the F50s because it delivers repeatable, exact and complex shapes that no human hand could sculpt as precisely for both performance and safety out on the water.
CNC machinist Brad, nice to meet you. Just wondering, what is it in a room like this that you're making that's going to go on an F50?
At the moment, we are just setting up titanium clamps for the dagger board cases. So we've done a prototype in aluminium, so the final product will be titanium.
And it's all through that similar process, so designer gives you what they want, you try and make it some sort of reality in your computer.
Exactly that,
and then we have a few goes with aluminium, and then we start making it.
A month later and 3,500 miles away in New York, the tech team painstakingly assemble each part made at the Southampton facility.
So here we are next to the Spanish F50, and we're going to show you a little bit about where our new milled titanium parts go within the board case. They fit in and they actually hold our wear pads in place to stop them moving around, which is very, very important to the movement of the board.
This is where all the work comes together, and the fast foiling F50s are handed over to the athletes who will make them fly.
And we are just moments away from the third race of 4 here at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth. Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darmena, and Todd Harris with you, with about 30,000 of our closest fans who have made their way on a picture-perfect day here down on the Solent and the English Channel to watch the world's best sailors go at it. And just a short time ago in the last race, we saw some incidents take place. We're talking close quarter racing, and there's not a lot of room for error here, but some of the best sailors in the world, of course, they can make things fit, Stevie, where maybe they should possibly be going.
Yeah, and I mean, the speeds they're going, sometimes it's just really hard to judge. You've got to remember the boat is, it's 50 foot long. So if you're at the back of it, where Dylan is, example, you know, and he's always got very, you know, optimistic eyes, so he would have assumed he was overlapped with that Swiss boat. It's really, really hard to judge, and they're travelling so fast.
1:25 to go before the start of race number 3, the third race out of 4 today. Near perfect conditions today as we get you ready for this second half of racing today. And remember, tomorrow we've got 3 more fleet races and then the event final on Championship Sunday. So we'll get that all dialed in. There you see some of the road traffic furniture they have to deal with as all 11 teams get themselves into position in the start box. So 1 minute to go, and here we are. 11 teams battling out for the 10 points that go to the winner of this race. Remember, we are short one team because of the incident that France had early in training before the start of racing today.
Yeah, once again, that position is pretty favoured, isn't it, down the line? I think what's different to a lot of the other events we have is it's such a short run to Mark 1, and it's then so important that you can turn right at Mark 1. You have to be on the inside, and Taylor Canfield made an aggressive move down there. He's trying to put himself right at the bottom of the line. The tricky thing you've got being in his position now is, can you hit that line going fast? That will be the challenge. But New Zealand, Italy and Australia look quite well positioned for me, but they are going to have to hope for a gap. North Star Canada towards the middle of our screen. They're going to be well positioned to accelerate, but it's all about timing now. Emirates Great Britain start to wind it up the line here. There's going to be a gap through the middle for the Brits, I think. Looking for this line to turn white, looking for the timing.
Oh, I think the Brazilians
this is
early.
The umpires, early start penalty, Brazil and USA.
Brazil and USA, they were way early here, and I think we're going to see New Zealand and Spain at the bottom end of the line. They're going to be on the inside of the turn at Mark 1. I think the Kiwis are going to lead from here. Spain makes some space. Expect Botin to spin it hard at Mark 1.
Airboard, slow, your board, and Tim, go down, board, 3, 2, 1.
Little slow for the Spanish. They've opened the door for the Swiss again. I'm staggered. He did such a good job of setting himself up, and then he was late dropping the board. Has he given the Swiss an overtake?
So mark number 1, it is the Black Foils, New Zealand out in front. It looks like Sebastian Schneider and the Swiss will hold on to second, and Diego Botin doing a great job. The Spanish currently sitting in third.
Yeah, but I think the Swiss will get on the inside there, and the Spanish have done such a good job with their pre-mark positioning. I mean, New Zealand nailed that manoeuvre. Let's give them fair dues there. They nailed it, and they're going to be gone. They'll be down the road here, the Black Foils, I'd imagine, but the Swiss are up to second. Mistake by the Spanish.
Remember the Kiwis right now who have the lead, got a second place in race number 1. They get a 4th in race number 2, and they would love to get the win here in race 3.
Tell you something as well, Hannah. Bonflying Rouge, Slingsby's not really got out of the blocks today.
No, that's right. We still haven't really seen them at the front of the fleet yet, have we? And different starting strategy, maybe. We know it's super important to be as close to the inside as you can at Mark 1, and we just haven't really seen them there at all.
And we've talked about how important the starts are, Stevie. I don't know which sailor said it to me, but it was a classic. And they said at the last race in New York City, we couldn't start a lawnmower. No. That's how bad we were.
Well, that can well be the case, that is for sure. We see Rockwell Denmark have got space. New Zealand are gone. I imagine New Zealand will extend from here. Is it staying pretty similar down there on the course? Is there any hope for the Bonflying Rouge fans, Lisa?
Yeah, nice, yeah. But it's at the top here.
Maybe caught Lisa at a busy moment there. Unfortunately, literally as I said, that commentator's curse. Australia sailed out of bounds and they've had to take a 20-metre penalty, which has cost them even more distance. They're right in the pack. Slingsby's a fighter, we know that, and we're on board here. They sail this boat so fast, but they need to be very, very calm.
Let's check back in with Lisa. I don't know if you heard Stevie's question, Lisa. Any conditions changing over the last race?
I would say that it might have slightly died off a little bit, so a little bit lighter, but in terms of racetrack, it is rinse and repeat. If you can lead at Mark 1, turn left and turn left again, you're looking pretty good. Not many overtaking lanes out here. I think that fort in the middle is creating a little bit of a wind shadow that anyone turns right, but it's really clear what course people want to do, so if you're out in front, that makes it easy.
Well, New Zealand has set it up perfectly. They've put an early manoeuvre in here. They knew they had to do 2 more manoeuvres. They did it early. They've got 1 more turn now, and then they'll be around gate 3, heading out to that side of the course that Lisa said was favoured. Back that other way, so strong position. But Switzerland look quite well positioned here. Could be 2 good races in a row. And what the Swiss have lacked this season is consistency. We've seen moments of brilliance, and then they've backed it up with moments of disaster. But right now, this is looking like a good backup to the race win in the previous race.
Looks like they're going to take the option to follow the black foils around this next gate mark, and the Spanish look like they're doing the same.
Everyone's desperate to get that way. I think you see is everyone learns the course, especially when you're in the front few boats. None of those boats are really being affected by anyone else, and all of them, they'd bite your hand off for a top 3 finish. It's the boats back in the pack. It's the boats like the Australian Bonds Flying Ruse and those other boats that are in the pack. They might have to roll the dice here and try and find that bit of space to use their boat speed.
But look at the right side of the course is just jam-packed with congestion, and that's 11, not 12 boats out on the water.
Nice gust of 2, 1, mark on the bow now.
Well, yeah, that's just 'cause it's the favoured place to go. I mean, there's a good saying in sailing, which is the good people go where the good people go. I mean, you know, if there's more wind and there's better conditions on that site, you're a bit foolish not to go there. But Australia are turning right here, and why they're doing that, because they're just trying to at least have clear wind. They're trying to have their own breeze, won't be being affected by the other boats, and then they can get going fast. But you can see no one is going faster than the black foils.
Yeah, they've managed to extend a nice lead there, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see them turn left at the bottom. It seems to be the way to go. We've not really seen many boats turn right at this bottom gate, and I think it just means they can do one less manoeuvre when they're sailing up to that gate 3, gate 5.
And here they are at the DP World Gate. This is the New Zealand Black Foils. They won the first event of season 5. That was in Dubai. You look at their driver, Peter Burling, a 3-time Olympic medalist, 3-time America's Cup champion. He's got the team, Stevie. I mean, it's just an all-star cast. And I guess a lot of people are wondering why they aren't winning more. They're consistently at the top of the board, but they're not winning regattas.
Not yet, no. And they were dominating last season. I mean, you could make a case to say last season they came out of the blocks.
Yeah.
And they were the best, and then they struggled to hold on. Maybe there can be a strategy trying to build momentum over the season. I don't think so. I think they've had a bit of a challenge integrating Leo Takahashi. Don't underestimate how good Andy Maloney is. Yep. Not necessarily a slight on Leo, but he's, Andy was the man, and so I think there's been a bit of learning in there. But Pete and Blair, I mean, it's like Lennon and McCartney or something like that. It's one of those iconic duos in the sailing world, and they just got absolutely telepathic sailing together.
How about this battle right now? But this is for positions 5 and 6, and it's the Bonds Flying Ruse and Tom Slingsby to get the inside of Rockwell, Denmark, so they will hold on to 5th place. Denmark drops to 6th, and then Red Bull Italy comes into 7th, with US SailGP back in there in 8th.
A nice round in there by the Ruse. They did a good job to hold the inside. They've got to keep clear of Rockwell, Denmark. They've got to be watching here, but they had Jason Waterhouse down there. He had his eyes focused in on them, and now they turn, and they're throwing disturbed air, blocked wind onto that Rockwell, Denmark boat, and the Danish are going to struggle to be very fast across this bit of the leg.
So up one more time, then back down, and then it's the left of the finish line. Hannah Diamond, I'll ask you, because you've been on these boats before, when you go from 6 people on board to 5 people on board, how critical is that, especially when you get in tight quarters like this?
Well, it kind of depends who you choose to take off, because it's up to the teams who they decide to kick off the boat, really. So you can see most of the sailors, most of the teams have got their strategists moving forward to help with the grinding. It's super physical, even when the wind's not really strong, just to be able to trim that wing sheet and allow the boat to be going as fast as possible all the time.
They spin the boat one more time. That is the Black Foils. They are the leaders right now. Let's remind you that New Zealand finished in 2nd place in race number 1. They finished in 4th in race number 2. So, Stevie, like they do, they are consistently near the top.
Yeah, really good. I mean, Emirates Great Britain, they're the boat today. They've sailed up to 4th here, but you saw that manoeuvre by the Kiwis. And the platform, I think, when you're looking at the boats, how do you judge if they're sailing well or not? How smooth and steady and stable does the platform look? And that was just rock solid. But again, once you're out in front, it's so much easier to predict the power you're going to have in the boat. You're making decisions when you want to make decisions. The tempo's calmer, everything like that. As soon as you're in the fight in the middle, you're just being dictated to.
Sebastian Snyder, the winner of the last race and the Swiss, he is holding on to 2nd place right now. And Diego Botin's going to...
He's allowed in there. He's allowed in there. He will be asking a question, I can assure you of that. Spain will say we had to delay our turn to avoid Switzerland. Switzerland will say we gave enough space. The only opinion that matters will be Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell. So we'll find out very soon once they make that decision.
Boy, it looked like Spain was thinking about splitting the course and going to the other side, and then they got inside that yellow circle first. So to Stevie's point, they had priority.
They did, but I've just heard from Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell that actually the Spanish were trying to do a little bit of a Hollywood. They tried to milk it. They had plenty of room to do that, and they might have cost themselves a space. Emirates Great Britain is absolutely flying around the course today. Dylan Fletcher, without doubt, is enjoying home turf. Maybe got his Weetabix in him this morning.
No one is catching the black foils on this race as the Kiwis are out in front and staying out in front. Their lead more than 300 meters. There they see the finish line, so it'll be one more left-hand turn and the win will be theirs.
Huge. This could be Emirates, Great Britain and New Zealand are going to be a long, long way gone in terms of the fleet. Switzerland are going to be looking in good shape at this point, but of course there's still a lot of golf left in this event. You know, there's plenty more to be done, but the Kiwis are going to enjoy this.
Race number 3 in the English Channel goes the way of the Kiwis as the black foils take the win here in Portsmouth. So that is your Emirates winning moment, and there's plenty of time to take a deep breath and start the debrief if you're a Kiwi, Stevie, because their lead is massive, and it looks like Sebastian Schneider, who we spoke with moments ago, they will hold on for a second. So a great run for the Swiss if they can bring this one home and take that second. Not too shabby for the hometown team. Emirates GBR, Dylan Fletcher, remember, started today off with a big win, and he's going to back it up with race number 3 with a third.
You know what, I think they'll be the happiest with this one because they were not good at Mark 1, and if you're in the pack, that's where you can easily get stuck. The fact they've managed to overtake 4 boats just from good manoeuvres, sailing quite clean around the course, you know, I think they'll be really, really happy with this race, funnily enough.
Diego Botín, the defending champions, Spain, the winners of the last 2 events, they will finish in 4th place. And then you got the Bonds Flying Ruse. Somehow Tom Slingsby always manages a way to salvage a race, even if for him, his standards, usually a top 3, but he'll take a 5 and he'll take those points and get the team safely home. And they've got one more race to go. Good showing today all around for Red Bull Italy and Ruggero Tita, Stevie. They have showed some great promise out there. When they've had leads, they've been able to hold on to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the conditions have been pretty good. I think Andrea Tessi, the flight controller, I mean, you know, he's been given the toughest job to take on the boat, I think, really, certainly in terms of learning a new role on the boat. And I guess he's been pretty open about that, but he's clearly getting better, as we'd expect. He's a world-class athlete. But I think this event could be showing him really starting to perform. And we're just starting to see the odd signs of some slightly disgruntled faces body language-wise, I think. For some of the teams, we're already thinking, hang on a minute, we've had 2 bad ones here. We're going to need to start rolling the dice very soon.
Yeah, Rockwell, Denmark, inconsistent on that race. And you have Mobudla, Brazil. Then you've got the Germany Deutsche Bank coming in 9th. And the Americans, despite looking like they were going to improve after races 1 and 2, they dropped back for a 10th. So the points will be at a premium for the Americans and the Stars and Stripes as they finish in 10th. It's only North Star Canada that finished behind them.
Doing this next one. Top of the line wasn't that nice either, was it?
So Giles Scott is already talking to his team and trying to figure out exactly what they need to do in the 4th and final race of the day. As we get ready for that final showdown here at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth, we're now able to go on board with the Black Foils and the New Zealand squad, their driver, Peter Burling. Pete, great race for you guys across the board. It was all about that start, but how were you able to get so much distance between yourself and the rest of the fleet over the course of the next 4 legs?
Yeah, really happy with how the boat's going. Feels like everyone's doing a really good job. Obviously, missing Marcus on board with us 5-up config, but yeah, it seems like if you get your nose clear, you can sail some stretch the legs a bit and make a pretty gain, which we're stoked to be first at Mark 1 and sail away from there.
Pete, it looks like an absolute scrap for that bottom end of the start line. Is that something you're sort of been able to have any kind of plan for, or are you just having to react on the hoof?
The first one we actually went up the top, got pretty close to being OTS, so overran the polars a little bit, so otherwise I think we really had a good crack at leading that one as well. But yeah, the last one was nice. Everyone shooted up the line a bit and we could kind of tuck in down leeward.
Pete, I'm not sure how much time you spent down here on the Solent, but you guys obviously have won the last time we came here to this part of the UK. Do you guys feel you got a bit of an advantage knowing these waters like you do?
I wouldn't say I know the place overly well. But yeah, I mean, awesome race stadium. Yeah, it's a beautiful place to sail. You know, anywhere you get a nice breeze, bit of flat water, and he'd show what these boats can do is super cool.
Pete, appreciate your time. Congratulations to you and the team. And that is New Zealand, the Black Foils, the winners of the first race of Season 5 in Dubai, and they are back. Last time we were in the UK, it was down in Plymouth, and they were the winners. So let's go back and take a look at race number 3. A lot to digest here, Stevie and Hannah. Obviously, we start with the very beginning. And unfortunate for Brazil and the USA, just timed it a little bit early.
Yeah, over early, and you could just see from there, New Zealand were on the inside, and I thought Spain was slow here to manoeuvre, Hannah.
Yeah, they were. They let the Swiss inside them there, but you know the black foils really nailed that manoeuvre, and they could lead all the way to that left mark, which has become so favoured in the last couple of races.
I just think from here we've seen now, we know that the leading boats are trying to stretch it out early at the bottom of the course here, and the interesting things for the boats back in the pack here, and I think that the Italians here did quite a nice job in the middle of the fleet. They couldn't chase down the black foils. Who was going to be able to do that? If you're in clear air, you're just going very, very fast, and the black foils we know are clinical when in the lead.
And how about the Emirates fly time going the way of those black foils? Once again, 100% they stayed up on the foils, and that will certainly help your cause. So we've done the math and we've crunched the numbers. 3 races down, 1 more to go. Who has been rewarded for the most consistency? We take a look at it, and it's Emirates GBR still up there by 1 point clear of the black foils, 27-26. Switzerland, though, surprise of the day. They are in a top 3 position right now on 25 points, and then it's a 6-point drop back to the defending champions Spain, Bonsflying Rouge, Red Bull Italy, and Rockwell Denmark, the top 7. Well, still 1 more race to go today, and we've already seen the incredible skill on display from the teams on board the F50s. And as SailGP continues to grow, it's no surprise the best of the best are joining the fastest race on water. If you are new to SailGP, or even if you're a diehard fan, you may not know about the crazy level of talent within the league.
I think all sailors, they're like trying to reach like the highest level and highest performance, and they want to be here.
There are a total of 21 Olympic gold medal winners, 15 silver and 3 bronze.
I think it's very clear that the people that go through successful Olympic campaigns and, you know, people that are always there in the top in Olympic sailing, they have a really good set of skills, and that's why I think you see so many of them here.
Brazil's Martini Grael is one of a handful of athletes with 2 gold medals to their name, joined by her Olympic partner Kahina Koons and Hannah Mills, Britain's most successful woman in Olympic sailing. She has 2 golds and a silver. And then there's Red Bull Italy's Ruggero Tita and Giles Scott, who drives North Star Canada. They both have 2 golds to their tally.
When people ask, you know, what's the pinnacle of the sport? And you know, I have events like SailGP and the Olympics are right up there. They sit on their own 2 pinnacles.
Other athletes have spanned an impressive career across multiple disciplines in the sport of sailing. Take New Zealand's Peter Burling and Blair Tuke. Both have a gold and 2 silver medals, plus 3 America's Cup victories, and have also completed laps around the planet in the ocean race. Some stars have even spanned multiple sports. For example, Matt Gottrell. He's an Olympic gold medalist in rowing and now competes as a grinder for Switzerland. And don't forget Season 5 champions Diego and Florian. Also claimed their first gold last summer. And 3-time SailGP champion Tom Slingsby bagged gold back in 2012. Illustrating the depth of world-class athletes on display.
When is a good circuit? When all the good sailors are there, and I think you can pretty much tell that the sailors that are here, they are the best sailors in the world.
With such a diverse roster of champions, it's little wonder that the standard of competition keeps rising in the most competitive Rolex SailGP season yet. And now we're less than 80 seconds away from the start of the 4th and final race. Remember, 3 more fleet races tomorrow on Super Sunday before the event final. With 1:10 to go, we'll see what everyone decides to do. Hannah, you wonder how much they've learned after 3 races, where they want to be at what point, because it sounds like from everyone we've talked to, if you can get a good start, you give yourself a real chance of taking the win.
Yeah, and we've seen that left turn is really strong, so making your first manoeuvre early out of Mark 1 so you can do that left turn. But just because you know that that's the right strategy doesn't mean it's any easier to execute.
Knowing what to do, Stevie, and being able to do it are 2 different things, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's almost even harder when it's that obvious, because everyone's trying to be in the same spot, and, you know, every person on these boats will know that's the place to be. It's not that you and I and Hannah are rocket scientists up here, Todd. They'll have all worked it out, and we can see once again the pole predictors at the bottom corner there on the downwind end of the start line. But that, again, I just think the difference here is it's such a short run to Mark 1. You haven't got the time to use the extra speed you'd had if you were up the line. Spain well positioned, New Zealand well positioned at the moment here. The Rouge, well, they've got some space, and Slingsby is going to be able to wind it up from here if he can keep his timing right. They look a little late on board Canada. North Star Canada having a shocker today. Here we go, looking for that line to turn white. Slingsby's going to swing it down here. All about acceleration. Watch for the go. Perfect from the ruse, and Slingsby, when he needs to pull a rabbit from a hat, he's done it because they need a good race here, and the ruse are going to lead at Mark 1.
Okay, let's stand by there.
So as they approach mark number 1, it is the Bonds Flying Ruse of Australia and Tom Slingsby, the winners of the second event of the season, New Zealand. They are off and running.
Oh, and the Spanish have learnt their lesson. They've spun it inside their boatine. He's given himself a chance. He must keep clear of Australia until he gets in the yellow circle, which is off the side of our screen at the moment. Slingsby will be aggressive here. He's going to try and push the Spanish off.
Yep, coming up. Coming down hard.
Going to try and force the Spanish off the course here.
Look at this.
He needs to not be overlapped. Brilliant by Slingsby. Absolutely textbook, and he's made it so hard for the Spanish. They're going to be slow out of gate 2.
Adding rather soft turn, Tommy. Up it.
Spain, it's going to get hard for Spain here because Emirates Great Britain will go around the outside. Emirates Great Britain will then have the right of way over the Spanish as well, and he could force the Spanish off the foils. They have Fletcher on fire.
So the ripple effect of aggressive driving from Tom Slingsby is felt in the rest of the fleet with Dylan Fletcher, Emirates GBR, Rogero Tito, and Diego Botín, most importantly. And now it is Tom Slingsby. We've heard all the drivers talk about this, Hannah. If you can get out in front, stay clean, you've got so many other options.
Yeah, and we saw in some of the other races, some of the teams are happy to bank a second or a third. Tom Slingsby is never happy with that. He will always go for the win if he's got that option.
Look at that, New Zealand, the black foils. They fell off the foils in their first manoeuvre there. Very, very costly for them. They could bring themselves back into the hunt as Mubadala Brazil, top right-hand corner of our screen. They've got some space. Martin's looking to pull a bit of a move here. They're going fast on board Mubadala Brazil, but how are they going to come back when they meet the fleet?
Currently sitting in second place is Mubadala Brazil and Grail.
Look at Spain, Todd. Sorry to interrupt. They're back to 8th, and they were in second. And I want, interesting question, right? Spain last year was sort of one of the nobody teams. They ended up winning the championship. They've then been on fire the last couple of events. Does that suddenly put a target on your back? And Slingsby says, I'm the big man. I'm taking you down. I'm going to shoot you.
Craig Mitchell, the chief umpire, issuing a penalty to Brazil. They sailed too far out on that boundary, the top of the screen, so they will have to drop back. And they will go from second to fourth. Meanwhile, it looks like the breeze is dropping just a little bit. We check in down in the water with Lisa Darmanin. Lisa, how is it looking to you, and how do you like the Rue's chance of where they are right now?
I think if you're out in front, it's pretty nice out here. I mean, today it's just getting a little bit patchier. So what I mean by that is that the higher breeze is higher and the lower breeze is lower. So a lot of cloud coming around, it's changing the day, but I think it's pretty clear what's working on the course. And you know, it's very close out here, very tight, but Australians are looking really strong.
Was it just me, Steve, or did she have a little extra pep in her voice there with the Australians out in front?
Well, we don't like to accuse Lisa Darmanin of being biased towards that Australian team. We wouldn't want to, wouldn't get herself accused of that, Todd. But yeah, I mean, I think she'll of course be happy. A lot of her friends on board that boat. But I think it's still really interesting here because Australia do need a good result. They've got to watch out for the Italians. Italy are entitled to dive inside. Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, they're going to go straight. Keep it simple on board Italy. I think at their stage of the development, that was a very smart move. Stay fast. Don't risk the extra manoeuvre. But New Zealand are still out the back.
So my question on that maneuver would be, with Red Bull Italy coming in that fast, are they hearing from Race HQ and Jimmy Spithill and their coaches, telling them go straight, don't mess around with Australia, or that's a decision that they leave up to Rogero Tito?
Well, I think all the teams have got a slightly different plan with that, but you know, some of these decisions are coming so quickly. Generally, the coaches are helping, and some of the CEOs as well, with some of the bigger picture strategy rather than that off-the-cuff thinking.
Yeah, here we go. We've got that race to the final at the moment. And this is a massive race for Australia and New Zealand. New Zealand look home and dry for the final. I know it was a bit early to say that. And Australia struggling, but you get a good race win. And New Zealand back in 11th. They're last of all the boats that are still currently racing. And you can see Australia scrape into the final as it stands. Long way to go, but one thing that is a fact is that British boat are loving it on home water.
Right now we've got one more race result to add to that tally, and then we've got 3 more fleet races tomorrow. For those of you wondering what's going on with France, they had an incident before the start of racing today where they broke their wing, and so it looks like they will not be able to race this weekend. Now, Stevie, there's a potential for them to do some miracle shore work overnight, but that was pretty extensive damage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speculate on that. I mean, you know, it's they've obviously... We'll review it, try and work out what's gone wrong. That's the most important thing, and then hopefully we've got some spares, but I don't know that at all. As we see here, that the Australians have done a brilliant job on this downwind. They've extended away, and Ruggero Tita on board Italy, they're doing a good job as well. It's going to really make tomorrow's racing so interesting.
Right, Lowell here, racing.
115.
Dylan Fletcher coming in second. Emirates GBR, they've had a great day today. They won the first race of the day. They finished second in race number 2, dropped back to third in race 3. So I think if you talk to any of the sailors, Hannah, they would all say, yeah, the first 3 races, I'd take a first, second, and a third. No question about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We talk about consistency all day long. It's so important. I think it's going to be hard for them here. They're going to tack on the boundary. It's going to be quite a hard lane behind the Bonds Flying Ruse. They're going to have to work pretty hard to keep the boat fast along this long leg.
See, if you get that view right there and you look along there, how far can the disturbed air go? I mean, who's feeling it? Is Italy feeling it? Is Brazil feeling it off the ruse?
Italy will be feeling it off the ruse. I think that the British will probably just about be clear, but they're quite limited in the angles they can sail from here. They might want to sort of turn a little away from the wind to accelerate, but if they did, they'd sail into disturbed wind. I think we were talking about the coaches. One of the really interesting things, the Spanish have developed a bit of software that predicts where the disturbed air from all of the boats is.
Right.
So then they can map a route round the race course. Now, of course, it doesn't always work because they're currently coming 10th, but it's been really a feature of their racing. So that understanding where that disturbed wind, where effectively there is less wind on the race course because of the other boats, it is predictable, and it's really a big feature.
There you see the Rolex chase time right now between first and second. That's the Bonds Flying Ruse out in front with Emirates GBR trying to track them down. I don't know if Dylan Fletcher, Hannah, is that concerned right now with the Bonds Flying Ruse because of the results they've had so far. You look at Australia, they start off with a 7th place on race number 1, a 5th on race 2, and they bounce back with another 5 on race 3. So they need the points way more than Dylan Fletcher does. I got to think he's going to keep this thing clean and simple and take a top 3.
Yeah, that's right. And don't underestimate how hard the boat is to sail when you've got someone in front of you and also trying to keep to the right-hand side underneath the screen of Spitbank 4. Requires so much concentration just to keep the boat going fast.
And just 5 people on board. Normally it is 6.
Wasn't it, by the Australians? And it just shows when you're out in front because we can see the boats in the pack. There is just less wind as all the boats move up the course. The whole bit downwind of the fleet towards the fans, there will be less clear wind and just less potential horsepower out there on the water. And well, look at that, Slingsby. He's looked pretty average all day, hasn't he? Give him a sniff of a lead, and they look like the world-class outfit that they are.
And this will shake up the leaderboard, no question about it.
Watch out for Swiss coming.
Oh, he was hunting at Emirates Great Britain there. He had the right of way. I think that was pretty clean, but Slingsby certainly made Fletcher know he's still around.
Copy. Turn away in 3, 2, 1. Turn away.
Opting for one less manoeuvre there with that right turn and forcing Red Bull Italy into another tack before they take that left turn.
Bubba Brazil and Martini Grail having a great race. They currently sit in 4th as they tuck in behind Red Bull Italy. And Germany Deutschebank having their best showing so far as they will come in 5th.
It's a pretty huge race this really because Spain and New Zealand 10th and 11th. I mean, we don't often see that, do we? And they're struggling to get back through the fleet. Portsmouth Emirates fouled Australia, so that was on the upwind leg. So it'll be a very, very minimum penalty because it's an overtake one and Australia are already well ahead. So that's just a little mark on the scorecard for Dylan Fletcher rather than any real effect to this race for him.
Just to let them know that Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell watches everything.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to annoy Tom Slingsby.
No, not at all. So here we go. This is leg 6 of 7, the final race of the day. Of course, we have 3 more tomorrow as you get a look at the Emirates Umpire Studio. Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell there on the right-hand bottom corner of your side. But right now, everyone is looking at the Bonds Flying Ruse because they have a massive lead as they will bring it in here and they will make that left-hand turn, and then it is off to Hallelujah Land as they see the finish line, and they will get a nice warm welcome by the near 30,000 fans that have turned out here in Portsmouth.
Nice moment for Chris Draper as well. We saw his daughter Lily up in the crowd, so we know his family's all up there. Chris, of course, comes from near Southampton, so local sailor as well as the wing trimmer on board the Bonds Flying Ruse.
So the fans can get on their feet and tip their hat. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Bonds Flying Ruse and their driver, Thomas David Slingsby.
Going forward down.
That's some good research you got yourself in there, Todd. David, there you go. I did not know that. Emirates Great Britain are coming through there. Brilliant day for them. In front of the home fans, they've really rose to the occasion, that is for sure. Ruggero Tita on board the Italian boat as well. Good day for them. Big, big day for this Italian team. They need a good event, and they're getting it.
Really great day right there. Look at the number of Union Jacks that are out. as they bring it across, much to the delight of the fans that turned out on a picture-perfect day here on day number 1. It is Dylan Fletcher and company. They cross the line.
Look at that crowd. I mean, it's just awesome, isn't it?
Nice ride, Nico.
Red Bull Italy, they will cross the line in a top 3 position. Germany, Deutsche Bank will finish in 4th. And Mubadala Brazil and Martini Grail, they will finish in top 5. Remember, they got a win in New York City in race number 4 a few weeks back. So they are still trying to build and put that team together, but they've got a lot of talent. And then Sebastian Snyder, winners of the last race, they drop back to 6th place.
Canada and the United States are going at it. United States have got to give Canada room here. Giles is pushing it wide. He's going to be slow. Both of them are going to be off the foils. As soon as they get round the mark, the North Star Canada have got to keep clear. And we've seen that Taylor Canfield is not one to be gentle in these situations. These 2 boats are going to be parked. So for all the boats behind them, opportunity knocks. The Americans need to time this right to re-accelerate.
Good opportunity now for Rockwell, Denmark, and Spain to maybe pick up another position as the U.S. and the Canadians are locked together. And look at this, Rockwell, Denmark's going to go right on by.
Oh, that was a big one by the United States. That was just overly aggressive. He could have slowed the Canadians and still held that position. That's a big mistake there. Good news for Rockwell, Denmark. But Spain and New Zealand in this race, wow, what effect is it going to have on their event?
So Canada drops back to position behind the Americans. Spain finished in a shocking 10th, and who would have thought this? The winners of the last race, the Black Foils, New Zealand, Stevie, they come in dead last.
If you're not first, you're last. That is for sure. Not a good result for the Kiwis, but they'll still come back fighting tomorrow. They're right in the match.
So that'll really mix up the old leaderboard as we'll take a look at that before we say goodbye. But all 4 races are now complete here in Portsmouth. So now the teams can begin that debrief. You see their short crews jumping on the ribs. They're coming out there. They're going to hook up with them, and they're going to get them the needed hydration that they need, make sure everyone's okay, get jackets. It's been a great day of racing. Hannah, these are the waters you know better than anyone. It doesn't get much better than this.
No, we've seen, one team be really consistent, but some of the other teams who've had some really great race results, they've also been back in the back of the pack. So tomorrow's going to be really critical, and it's going to be a really close race to that final.
So we now go on the water with Australia and the Bonds Flying Roos and their driver, 3-time SailGP champion Tom Slingsby, also an Olympic gold medalist. Tom, tough day of racing those first couple races. You guys had success here back in the early seasons of SailGP where you won in cows. How similar is this race course to what you guys experienced, 4 or 5 years ago?
This is a very different race course to the one we did in cows. Obviously, I don't know, maybe 20 Ks apart, but yeah, the wind is pretty similar, but here we have a lot different current, really tough conditions, and the racetrack's really tough with all the obstacles. Got a lot of ocean furniture out here that we have to avoid, and yeah, it's a bit tricky.
Tom, we'll let you get out. We appreciate your time. Congratulations on wrapping up the day with a big win. We know you guys will come out fighting tomorrow.
Thank you. Cheers.
So let's go back to the highlights, and again, a very exciting race and big crowd converging right on that spot.
Yeah,
Steve,
but you can see the Australians, the Bonds Flying Roos there, they just managed to find space where there's not been much space, and from there they converted it so well. I think the story for me was how one little battle that you get yourself in between Spain and Australia was just catastrophic for the Spanish, Hannah.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the Spanish will probably feel a little bit hard done by here. It was a really aggressive move from Tom Slingsby, but if you're lining up next to him, he's always going to be aggressive.
Yeah, you just get yourself a little slow and you get out of shape. I think we saw, a lot of the time we watched the leaders, didn't we, going around the race course, and you could just see Emirates Great Britain often in space, sailing the boat smooth, able to put the game together. But as soon as you're in the back of the pack and you can't make those easy decisions, then the Australians were stuck in that all day. Put them in space, they go fly away, win the race, and they look unsaleable. So tomorrow, it's going to be a big review of how you nail these starts, because Mark 1 is everything.
Well, let's take a look at the Emirates fly time, and once again, it's 100%. So we have a consistency here. If you win a race, you're probably going to be 100% at the Emirates fly time. And it's a fantastic showing by all of the athletes today here in beautiful Portsmouth. So let's take a look at it. Here's what it looks like. After that race, Emirates GBR still out in front. They've got a 6-point cushion in first place. Switzerland holds down second, and the Bonds Flying Roos, by virtue of that last win, they are now pulled into a tie with the Black Foils of New Zealand. Well, the day has come to an end here on day number 1 of the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth. We take it down on the water, and Lisa Darmanin.
Well done. What a fantastic day in front of the home crowd. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pumped to be honest. You know, we've had some difficult events, so to be here, have a good Saturday in front of our home crowd is amazing.
And what was this racetrack like? It looked quite challenging, looked like everyone knew where to go. It's just hard to get there.
Yeah, quite a difficult racetrack with a lot of obstacles and some, you know, different start blocks. But yeah, just really happy and proud of the whole team today. But we know we've got a big job to do tomorrow.
Yeah, what are you expecting for tomorrow?
Looks a bit breezier, so yeah, it's going to be entertaining.
And what was that grandstand like?
Oh, it's unbelievable. You know, to see that many fans watching us here in the UK, it's yeah, really, really proud and a massive privilege to the team.
Well done, Dylan. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa, and thank you, Dylan. Congratulations to Emirates GBR. Just a near perfect day for them as they put themselves into first place. And now it's time for us to take a look at the Rolex Precision Athletes of the Day. Stevie, we'll talk with driver. You can't argue with that.
You can't argue with that. I mean, they started absolutely brilliantly all day. See that average distance, 1.3 seconds behind the line, nailed that. Liv did a good job on board the Kiwi boat, for sure. They did a really nice job. And the Swiss, I think Arnaud deserves that because they were fast when they were put under pressure. That Swiss boat did stay fast. And the Wild West Australian Parco, he loves it when he's got a bit of space.
And the Rolex at best time start. Wow, look at this. I mean, it does not get much closer than this. Just drilled it. Pete Berlin, Pistol Pete was on it today. And with a little bit of breeze, we take a look now at the highest speed of the day. Let's give it to the hometown team. Of course, 83.5 kilometers an hour, the DP World fastest speed of the day. And that's kind of surprising, Steve, because the wind did drop off a bit in the second half.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, these boats are just so fast, aren't they? Absolute beasts when they get out in a bit of space. So yeah, highest speed of the day, but they're in the most clear window all of the day.
All right, the big question is, what is it going to be tomorrow? And for that, we check in with the 4th member of our team, maybe the smartest member. I don't know, Hannah's pretty smart too. Lisa Darmanin, what are we looking for tomorrow?
Well, we're looking for another great day of racing here on the Solent tomorrow. Around 26 kilometres per hour, gusting to 33 kilometres per hour from the southeast. So expecting 3 amazing fleet races followed by that final. And I know it's going to be all on configuration-wise. We're expecting probably something similar. We saw the teams, they were getting used to the T-foils today. So I think it's going to be full send mode tomorrow and an absolutely great show for everyone coming down to that grandstand.
So it's an FSM day, full send mode. You heard it first from Lisa Darmanin. That wraps up day number 1. What a day for the British as the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth day 1 is in the books. The Rolex SailGP Championship. What a start tomorrow. Looks a little breezier as Lisa reported, and there's a chance of rain coming in. So we will see how it all plays out. We'll see who takes it home when it's really on the line on Super Sunday. So on behalf of Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, and Lisa Darmanin, I'm Todd Harris saying so long. We'll see you tomorrow for day 2 of the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth. So long, everybody. Welcome to the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth.
France have broken their wing.
Emirates GBR take the win.
That was so tight. Oh, that's some Emirates winning moment for the Swiss.
The Black Foils take the win here in Portsmouth. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Bonds Flying Roos.